The first thing I feel is pain. Sharp, electric, shooting through every nerve in my body. My eyes snap open to blinding white lights overhead, the steady beep of monitors, the antiseptic smell that burns my nose. I'm in a hospital bed, wires taped to my chest, an IV dripping into my arm. A nurse rushes in, eyes wide. Miss Reynolds. You're awake. Oh my God, stay still. I'm calling the doctor. I try to speak, but my throat is raw, like I've been screaming for hours. Memories flood back in fragments, the screech of tires, the impact, Mason's cold voice on the phone minutes before. It's better this way. Ava. You're in the way. Then darkness. I died. I know I died. Because I remember the cold hospital floor in another life. The betrayal. The slow bleed out after Mason and Emily staged my accident to claim everything. But this isn't that life. The calendar on the wall reads December 20th, 25. I'm 27 again, lying in Mount Sinai after a car crash that should have killed me. The doctors call it a miracle. I call it a reset. My brain took the trauma and rebooted, dumping every bitter memory of the future into the present. I know exactly what Mason Hale and my cousin Emily are planning. I know how they'll smile at my funeral while splitting my inheritance. I know how Luke Carter, the man I was supposed to marry, will end up paralyzed and broken after Emily seduces him away from me. And I know that this time, none of it is going to happen. The door opens again, and there she is. Emily, dressed in designer coat, eyes already manufacturing tears. Ava. Thank God you're okay. I was so scared. She reaches for my hand. I let her take it, watching every micro-expression. In the old life. This is where I believed her. This time I see the calculation behind the concern. Emily, I croak, voice hoarse. You came straight from the airport, Channing nods quickly. Soon as I heard, lie. She was in Manhattan the whole time. I squeeze her fingers just hard enough to make her wince. Thank you for being here. My smile feels like a blade. She relaxes, thinking she's won the first round already. The doctor comes in, explains the coma, the swelling on the brain, the lucky survival. I nod along, already planning. When they finally let me have my phone, I scroll through messages. There's one from Luke Heard about the accident. I'm coming to New York. Hold on. Ava. My chest tightens. In the old timeline, he never sent that text. Emily intercepted everything, convinced him I was pulling away. This time the message got through. This time I'm answering. I type back, please come. I need you. Then I delete every thread with Mason before anyone can see. Emily lingers by the door. Mason's on his way too. He's devastated. I meet her eyes in the reflection of the dark window. Tell him not to bother. Her smile falters for half a second. Good. The seed is planted. 2 weeks later, I'm discharged into a Manhattan winter that feels sharper than any knife. Luke is waiting outside the hospital doors, tall in his dress uniform, coat collar turned up against the snow. The sight of him healthy, whole, no scars yet, no bitterness in his eyes, almost undoes me. He opens his arms and I walk straight into them. He smells like pine and cold air and safety. You scared the hell out of me, he murmurs into my hair. Don't do that again. I laugh, but it catches in my throat, trying not to. We drive to my family's Upper East Side townhouse. Emily is already there, playing hostess, directing staff to bring tea and blankets. My mother hugs me too tightly, eyes wet. We thought we lost you. My father nods from the doorway, awkward as always with affection. Mason arrives last, carrying flowers, face arranged in perfect remorse. Ava, I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner. Business in London ran long. I take the flowers, look him dead in the eye. Don't worry about it. He searches my face for weakness and finds none. Dinner is a careful performance. Emily sits beside Luke, laughing at everything he says, touching his arm when she thinks I'm not looking. Luke is polite, but he keeps turning back to me, checking if I've eaten, refilling my water. Mason watches all of it with growing irritation. After dessert, my mother pulls me aside. Darling, Emily's worried about you marrying Luke. His job is dangerous. Mason is stable, successful. I cut her off gently. Mom, I love Luke. That's not changing. Her mouth tightens. You nearly died. Maybe think about what's safe. I kiss her cheek. Safety isn't everything. Later, in my room, Luke finds me staring out at the city lights. He wraps his arms around me from behind. Your family really wants you with Mason. I turn in his arms. And you? What do you want? He kisses me slow and certain. Only you. Always only you. Heat flares between us, but I pull back. Not yet. I need control first. Downstairs, I hear Emily on the phone, voice low and venomous. It's different. Cold. We need to move faster. I record it on my phone, hidden in my pocket. The next day, I meet with my grandfather's lawyer quietly. I transfer controlling shares of the family trust into a new structure that only I can access. I open private accounts. I schedule an appointment with a discreet private investigator. Luke has to return to base for a week. Before he leaves, he holds me like he's afraid I'll vanish. Promise you'll be careful. I kiss him hard. Promise you'll come back to me. The moment his plane takes off, Emily makes her move. She accidentally spills wine on my dress at a charity gala, then loudly suggests I've been drinking too much since the accident. Whispers start. Reporters ask if I'm unstable. Mason offers public support, hand on my back for cameras, murmuring concern. I smile for the photos and excuse myself. In the restroom, I splash water on my face, staring at my reflection. For a moment, the old Ava surfaces scared, trusting, ready to forgive. I crush her down. Not this time. That night, I go through Emily's phone while she's asleep in the guest room. Passcode still 0713, her mother's birthday. I find the messages with Mason plans to stage another accident. This one fatal. Once Luke is deployed overseas. Insurance policies already taken out in my name. I copy everything to a secure drive. When I crawl into bed, the city is quiet. Snow falling thick outside. I touch the faint scar on my temple from the crash and whisper to the dark. Round one to me. But I know the war has only started. Emily and Mason think they're hunting a wounded deer. They have no idea the deer has teeth now. The first crack appears at a family brunch in the Hamptons. Sunlight pouring through floor-to-ceiling windows. Everyone pretending the accident never happened. Emily raises her glass with a perfect smile. To Ava's full recovery. Everyone echoes it except me. I watch the champagne bubbles rise and pop, thinking how easy it would be to poison a drink no one suspects. The thought shocks me. I set my glass down untouched. Luke notices, squeezes my knee under the table. You okay? I nod, but the question lingers. Am I becoming them later that afternoon? Emily corners me in the garden. You've been distant. If you're upset about Mason and me getting closer, just say it. Her tone is syrupy concern, eyes sharp as glass. I almost laugh. In the old life, I would have apologized. This time I tilt my head. Why would I be upset Mason's ambitious? You two suit each other. The words taste like acid, but her shoulders relax. She thinks she's winning. That night, I make my first mistake. I confide in Sarah, my oldest friend from college, over drinks at a quiet bar in Soho. Emily's planning something. I have proof, but I'm not ready to use it yet. Sarah hugs me, promises silence. 2 days later, the first rumor hits page 6. Sources close to the Reynolds family say Ava is paranoid after her accident, accusing relatives of plotting against her. My phone explodes with texts. Sarah swears she said nothing. Tears in her eyes. I believe her, but the damage is done. Public sympathy tilts toward Emily. She posts a tearful Instagram story about mental health and family strain. Likes pour in. Luke's commanding officer calls him in. The press is asking questions about his fiance's stability. He comes home tight-jawed. They want me to take leave until this dies down. I feel the guilt like a punch. I'm sorry. He pulls me close. We'll fix it together. But I see the worry he's trying to hide. Mason invites me to lunch as friends at Le Bernardin. I go, curious to watch him squirm. He's thinner than I remember, shadows under his eyes. Over oysters he leans in. Ava, I know about the cancer. Stage 3 pancreatic. I didn't want anyone to know. The confession hangs between us. In the old life, he hid it until after we married. Used my family's money for experimental treatments. Then left me anyway. Now he's asking for pity early. I'm telling you because you deserve honesty, he says. Help me. Your grandfather's connections. I cut him off. You should tell Emily. She's closer to you now. His face twists. She doesn't love me. She loves what I could become. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for him. Then I remember the staged accident, the cold floor, my blood pooling. I stand. Get treatment on your own, Mason. Or don't. Your choice. Walking out, I feel the ground shift under me. Revenge is supposed to feel good, but it's starting to taste like ash. That night, I sit alone in my study, staring at the secure drive full of evidence. I could release it tomorrow and end them both. Instead, I open a bottle of wine and drink half before I realize what I'm doing. Luke finds me at 2 a.m., head in my hands. He doesn't ask questions, just holds me until I fall asleep. In the dark, I whisper the fear I haven't said aloud. What if I destroy myself trying to destroy them? The counterattack begins in a courtroom downtown, sleek and cold under fluorescent lights. I sue Emily for embezzling from the family foundation small amounts routed through fake charities, easy to prove with bank records I've had traced for weeks. She sits at the defendant's table in pale pink, looking fragile. The judge isn't fooled. Judgment comes fast restitution, public apology, probation. Emily's reputation cracks wide open. Tabloids feast. She loses brand deals overnight. At the hospital where Mason is starting chemo, I leak his diagnosis to a gossip site. Anonymous tip, untraceable. Headlines scream, tech golden boy fighting for life. Investors pull funding. His company's stock tanks. Emily visits him in the ward, caught by paparazzi leaving in tears. The narrative flips poor Emily, trapped with a dying man. She plays it perfectly, milking sympathy. I watch from across the street, coffee going cold in my hand. For the first time, I wonder if I've underestimated her. She attempts suicide 2 weeks later. Pills, dramatic note about betrayal and despair. Saved in time, of course. Flowers flood her room. She posts a frail selfie from the bed. Thank you for the love. I'm healing. I almost believe the performance myself. Luke and I fight the night she's released. She's your cousin. Ava. Whatever she did, she's broken now. I snap back. She's never broken. She's calculating. He looks at me like he doesn't recognize the woman he loves. The silence after he leaves the room is deafening. Then the real strike comes. Emily feeds a story to a major network-exclusive interview, claiming I fabricated everything out of jealousy, that Luke's career is at risk because of my vendetta. They run it primetime. My phone rings off the Hook lawyers, PR crisis team, my mother sobbing. Luke is deployed early on a classified mission because the brass wants him away from distractions. I stand in our empty apartment and feel the walls closing in. This is the price. I've pushed too hard, too fast. Emily thinks she's won. She's wrong. I fly to Walter Reed under a false name the day Luke's unit returns from a bad op. He's wounded shrapnel in the leg. Not life-threatening, but enough to scare me silent. I sit by his bed holding his hand while he sleeps off anesthesia. When he wakes, he tries to smile. Hey, beautiful. Tears spill before I can stop them. I almost lost you. He wipes them away. You didn't. I tell him everything, then the proof. The leaks, the war I started. He listens without interrupting. When I finish, he says quietly, end it however you need to, but come back to me whole. 2 nights later, I hold the press conference myself. No lawyers, no script, just me in black, standing alone under blinding lights. I play the recordings Emily and Mason plotting the original accident, discussing insurance payouts, laughing about how easy it would be.
Then the recent ones, Emily bragging she'll destroy me first. The room erupts. Questions shouted over each other. I wait until silence falls. I was prepared to burn everything down. I say, voice steady. But some fires consume the person holding the match. This ends tonight. I turn to leave. Behind me, Emily's team tries damage control. But it's too late. Sponsors drop her. Prosecutors open investigations. Mason, weakened by treatment, records a confession, names dates, amounts, the staged crash. He sends it to me with a note, I'm sorry. Too late for both of us. He dies 3 days later during a routine procedure. Complications, they say. Emily disappears from public view. I don't celebrate. I sit in our apartment with the lights off and feel the weight of every choice settle on my chest like stones. Revenge tasted sweet for one brief moment. Then it turned bitter and stayed that way. Luke comes home on crutches a week later. He doesn't ask if it was worth it. He just pulls me into his arms and lets me cry until there's nothing left. Outside, snow starts to fall again, covering the city in clean white. I wonder if anything can ever really be clean again. Spring arrives in New York like a quiet verdict. Cherry blossoms drifting over Central Park while the city moves on from the scandal. Emily vanishes from the spotlight. Last seen, checking into a low-profile rehab facility upstate under an assumed name. The tabloids lose interest once the next celebrity meltdown hits. Mason's obituary runs small, buried in the business section promising entrepreneur. Taken too soon. No one mentions the confession video he sent prosecutors before he died. It's enough to close the investigations without a full trial. My family gathers for the reading of his will. Turns out he left everything to a charitable foundation in my name. A final twisted apology. I accept the money, but only to seed the Ava Reynolds Foundation for Women Rebuilding after betrayal legal aid. Therapy, emergency relocation. The launch event is packed. Cameras flashing as I step to the podium in a simple black suit. This isn't about revenge, I say, voice clear. It's about refusing to stay broken. The applause feels distant. Luke stands in the wings on crutches, pride in his eyes, but I see the questions he still hasn't asked. Afterward, my mother approaches, thinner than I remember, eyes red-rimmed. I was wrong about everything, she says. I chose sides I shouldn't have. I nod, but the words don't warm the space between us. My father stays silent beside her, staring at the floor. Forgiveness isn't a switch I can flip. I offer them seats on the foundation's advisory board, distance with purpose. They accept, grateful for any scrap of connection. Emily's probation officer calls a month later. She's violated terms, skipped therapy sessions, been spotted trying to sell her story to foreign press. The judge revokes probation. She's sentenced to 18 months for fraud and conspiracy. I don't attend the hearing. Instead, I'm in Washington with Luke, watching him pin on his new oak leaves, promoted to lieutenant colonel despite the chaos. We celebrate quietly at a Georgetown restaurant, wine and candlelight. He raises his glass. To the strongest woman I know. I clink mine against his, but the toast tastes bittersweet. That night in our hotel room, I finally tell him the part I've kept buried during the height of the leaks. An innocent bystander got caught in the crossfire. Mason's former assistant, Clara, loyal and hardworking, lost her job when investors fled. She couldn't find new work with the scandal attached to her resume. I found her living in a shelter with her kid. I paid her rent anonymously for months, too ashamed to face her. Luke listens without judgment. Fix it the way only you can, he says. So I do. I hire Clara as operations director for the foundation. Full salary, benefits, childcare stipend. She cries when I offer it in person. I thought you hated everyone connected to him. I shake my head. I hated what I almost became. The foundation grows fast, corporate sponsors, government grants, stories pouring in from women across the country. I travel to speak, Luke by my side when his schedule allows. Reporters ask if I'm the ice queen now, untouchable. I smile and tell them I'm just done apologizing for taking up space. One night in Chicago after a panel, I get a text from an unknown number, a photo of Emily in orange prison garb,
gaunt and hollow-eyed, staring at the camera. Caption: she asked me to send this. Says she's sorry. I delete it without replying. Some apologies are too heavy to carry. 2 years slide by in a rhythm I never expected. Early mornings at the foundation office. Evenings with Luke planning weekend escapes. Summers in a small house we buy on the California coast, where the ocean roars loud enough to drown old echoes. I'm 30 now, hair shorter, laugh lines starting at the corners of my eyes. The scar on my temple has faded to a thin silver line. We marry on a cliff at sunset, just 20 guests, barefoot in the sand. I wear white linen, no veil. Luke's vows are simple. I choose you every day, in every life we get. Mine are shorter, and I choose me right alongside you. My parents fly in, sit in the back row holding hands like teenagers. Emily's sentence ends early for good behavior. She moves to a halfway house in the Midwest, works nights cleaning offices. No one hears from her directly anymore. The foundation thrives, thousands of women helped. Laws changed in 3 states because of our advocacy. I step back from day to day to write a book. Not a tell-all, just a quiet map for anyone waking up in their own wreckage. It hits the bestseller list and stays there. Luke retires from active duty, takes a teaching post at West Point. We start trying for a baby, cautiously, joyfully. One crisp December morning, the anniversary of the crash, I wake before dawn and walk the beach alone. The tide is out, exposing tide pools glittering with trapped stars. I think about the girl who died on that cold floor, how she trusted too easily, forgave too quickly. I don't hate her anymore. I understand her. A text buzzes in my pocket. Unknown number again. This time it's a scanned letter. Emily's handwriting shaky but clear. I see your foundation everywhere. Women talk about you like you saved them. I hate that I needed saving too. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I finally get it. The price. All of it. I read it twice. Then let the wind take the phone screen dark. I don't reply. Some chapters close without ceremony. Luke finds me an hour later, wraps a blanket around my shoulders. Cold out here. I lean into him. Just saying goodbye to some ghosts. He kisses my temple, right over the scar. Any left, I smile. Real and light. Not anymore. We walk back as the sun rises, painting the sky the color of new beginnings. Later that year, our daughter is born, dark hair like her father, fierce cry like her mother. We name her Grace, because that's what we've learned to give ourselves. The headlines fade. The foundation endures. The past settles into stories we tell only when necessary. Emily lives quietly somewhere, working, alone, carrying what she earned. My parents visit on holidays, careful and grateful. Luke and I grow older side by side, arguing over paint colors and preschool applications, making love with the windows open to salt air. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I wake suddenly, heart racing, reaching for the ghost of betrayal. Luke's arm tightens around me before I even speak. "I've got you," he murmurs. And he does. I close my eyes and let the ocean outside remind me tides come in, tides go out, wounds scar over. Life, against all odds, keeps moving forward. On the morning of December 20th, 2030, exactly 5 years after the crash, I get a plain envelope in the mail. Inside is a single pressed cherry blossom and a note in unfamiliar handwriting. "Thank you for the second chance," no signature. I pin the blossom in Grace's baby book and go back to the kitchen, where Luke is burning toast and our daughter is laughing at the smoke alarm. I kiss them both, tasting butter and future, and think this is what winning feels like. Not the destruction of enemies, just this ordinary, messy, unbreakable happiness, the kind no one can steal twice.